Uh, so I believe we should be able to start now. So, hi everyone, and welcome to this mock interview session featuring our get resource person, which is our guest for today, Mr. Kendi Akin Toby, and our selected candidates, of course. So, just a brief overview of Mr. Kendi's experience. So, he's currently the head of talent acquisition at Sarah Group Limited. I've been looking to buy stocks at that company. Anyways, is an accomplished HR leader managing talent across 42 countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. That's almost the entire continent. With 18 plus years experience spanning human resources management, consulting, and social impact. He's also a very versatile person in terms of industries like First Bank, Mansard, Siemens, Coca-Cola, PZ, and Nestle. His strategic vision is focused on unlocking potential through innovative HR practices and youth development. Uh, I think I saw Mr. Kendi on the call. I don't know if Mr. Kendi.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can hear you just fine. And thank you so much for taking out the time to join us on this call tonight. I always identify that time is a very precious resource, even more than silver and gold. And for someone to give up that time to anybody is something that's truly appreciated. And thank you so much for joining us today.
You're
So
welcome.
I don't know if you had any brief. I might not have done justice to your work experience and your biography. So I don't know if you had any brief introductions for us. Just anything you would love to add.
No, we are good to go. We are once candidates, so we're happy to share experience. Incidentally, they are doing some work. Some technicians are working, so typically I can't switch on my camera now, but I can contribute actively. Happy to take it on and then make the most of the time that we have.
No problems at all. Your voice is more than enough for us, and I'm sure everyone would appreciate the wealth of experience that you'll be bringing to us today. And before we move on, I just want to quickly check in with our two candidates for today, in person of Joshua and Modupe. If you could just say hi, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
So that's Modupe. Hi, Modupe. And sorry, I said Joshua Justice. Sorry, sorry for reading your name there.
That's important. Yeah, I'm here. Good evening.
Okay.
Thank you for having me also.
Good. Thank you for joining us as well. So, not to pick on you, Justice, but I have your CV up at the moment. So, I don't know if so we would be starting with you, and I'll probably set the scene for Mr. Kendi to take the lead from there. So, I'll just quickly share. Right.
Okay, so a brief run through Justice resume. Um, it says, okay, let me have to zoom in. So it
Okay.
says, yeah, but we can see. No, I'll just zoom in from my own, but
Oh,
we can
okay.
see it so far.
Okay.
So I'll just zoom in so I can see the full picture. So it's a one pager. It shows he has experience as a piping design trainee. He has experience as a customer success specialist. He's completed his NYC. He's been involved in a Power BI retail sales dashboard, and he has a range of core skills from dashboard design to data cleaning, transformation, and Jira. So, first on the list, we're looking at justice. So, we're doing justice to the situation. So, justice, maybe what will give you to, you can introduce yourself under 1 minute and tell us within the 1 minute what is your career objective, what do you want to achieve, and what role you feel that we should be interviewing you for.
Okay. Good evening once more, and I hope you temper justice with mercy. So my name is Justice Oswago Nabuke, and I'm passionately driven with. Sorry, I'm being a little bit tensed. Can I go again?
You can go again.
Okay. So my name is Oswago Justice Nabuke, and I'm a data-driven person. I over some few years I've acquired some proficient skill set in environmental management, operations, and also in engineering. And I'm passionate about using data to solve problems and also improve processes and support decisions. So that's a
Okay,
brief
that sounds
introduction
interesting.
about
So, what role can you just tell us a role you'll be interested in? You can mention the organization and the role that you'll be interested in, so that we can interview you for that position.
Okay. So I'll be interested in the role of a junior, or will I say an entry-level data analyst.
Okay. What organization? What industry?
Okay. I'll go with the engineering industry.
Okay. So you are looking at engineering solutions. You are looking like a company like Siemens. Okay. So we'll jump right into it. At least we have some idea of what we want to achieve. So it's easier for us to have a conversation that is robust. Okay. So are you good to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, interview has started. Welcome, Justice. Can you take 1 minute to tell us about yourself and then why we should consider you for this role?
All right. So, my name is Justice, and I've got some experience in the use of data and how to analyze data to be able to make impactful decisions to streamline processes and also bring about
Okay, Justice still on the call.
yes, I'm still on the call.
So I would ask some questions that will not just be interview questions, but will be helping questions. So what's the importance of data?
All right. Data is very important to humans in the sense that as each day comes, as we meet each day, we are faced with decisions to make. And without the presence of data, those decisions are not going to be fruitful. They're not going to be possible. So data plays an important role in shaping our decisions.
Okay, so what's the process flow of data? I may interject so that we can manage the time. Yeah. So what's the process flow of data? So you talked about data is helpful for us to use it as a foundation to make a decision. But what's the process flow? There are some things that you are going to do, from the beginning to the end. That's the value chain of data for us to be able to take a decision. So you talked about you are interested in an engineering firm. So can you give us a scenario that shows the process flow and the decision that you enabled management to take based on what you did with data?
All right. So as a piping design trainee, I handle an amount of data. Sorry. Can I go on?
Yes, you can go on.
Okay, so as a piping design trainee, I manage some amount of data, and which implies that for an efficient output, the data has to be clean. So I have to look at the quality of data coming in, which also streamlines down to the process of cleaning the data, getting it ready for use, and and a clean data drives about getting a suitable result that is positive.
Okay. So given that this is also a feedback session, let me share that process flow. So one of the things that you must learn is to analyze yourself and see the linkage between what you have and what the interviewer or the interviewing organization needs. So let's use the example of data, which is something that's interesting. And you've worked as a piping design trainee. Yes, you mentioned you're interested in engineering. You worked as a customer success specialist, though in the real estate sector. And then you've been able to develop a project for a retail sales dashboard. Now you have data. Data is the connection point because you are looking at a data analyst position. So when they ask you what's the process flow of data, data is observed. You observe and monitor data. You look at trends, you look at patterns, you look at buyer decisions. So you have to observe and monitor data. Secondly, you collate data. So you have data touch points. When you are observing data, you must have points where you collect the data. So is it from customer feedback form? Is it from surveys? Is it from frequency of use? Is it website visitors? Is it the website traffic? You have touch points that collate data. Then you now analyze the data. You look at the time the data was collated. You look at the performance of the data. You look at, the demographics of the people. You look at gender. You look at race. You look at expenditure. You analyze all those things that give you insights. So data is not useful until it gives you insights, and insights is what helps you to make a decision. Now, let us look at it. You are talking about engineering. And if you ask random questions on this call, who is likelier to buy a tire pump between a man and a woman? The obvious answer is that it's a man. How do you get that data? Because we checked that out of the people that came to the store to buy a tire pump, 98% were men. Even when women wanted to buy it, it was the men that helped them to buy it because they didn't know which one was fake, which one was original. Who is more likely to buy a sanitary pad for a daughter? Is it a man or a woman? Most of us will agree that it's going to be a woman because the woman, the mother, understands which one is good and can help buy. So insights help you to. So when you are coming for an interview, you must understand this is what I have to offer and it aligns with what the company needs. And then I'll be able to. Now, when we look at, maybe there are 5 levels of knowledge, that we can share that can help you. You must have personal knowledge of yourself. Am I an introvert? Am I an extrovert? Understand yourself because you are the only one that can market yourself. Secondly, you must have knowledge of the organization. So you are coming to Siemens. What does Siemens do? Siemens is into power. Siemens is into different technologies. How is my knowledge going to benefit, or my skills and abilities going to benefit Siemens? Thirdly, you must have knowledge of the industry. You must have knowledge of the industry. Oh, let's say Siemens is in the engineering space. How many other companies are in the engineering space? What kind of engineering? You must also have knowledge of the macroeconomy. The macroeconomy, what is the impact of the dollar? What's the impact of importation? What's the impact of government policy? And the final one is knowledge of the function. So when we talk about data analysis, what do you know about data analysis? What certifications have you gotten? So you must have personal knowledge, you must have functional knowledge, you must have company knowledge, organizational knowledge, you must have industry knowledge, then you must have macroeconomic knowledge. So with these few points of mind, let us continue our interview and ask a few questions. And my other question I will ask you, why should we hire you for this role? There are 25 other candidates waiting outside for this role. Why? What's peculiar about you that is a good decision for us to hire you?
All right. Why I feel I should be hired for the role is because I have the skill set to bring about a dynamic improvement in
What skill set?
when it comes. All right, I I can handle data proficiently. I can analyze data and also drive to
Okay, so two things I'll chip in. So where have you analyzed data? You said you've done this. So where have you done it?
all right. I've done it in the project on my CV, which is the retail sales dashboard.
So how much data did you analyze and what were the outcomes of the data that you managed?
All right, though not much of a data, I analyzed a data set of about 500 using
Okay.
Power BI. So upon reception of the data, I loaded it into Power BI. I proceeded to clean the data by removing duplicates and correcting some anomalies like the date types. And once I ensured the data set is clean and suitable for use, I then proceeded to create a relationship between tables. And for that, I used the DAX function.
Okay, so I'm going to throw, because I know that you did your national youth service very recently. So I'll throw some just practical questions to you. Now, you are seated in the office of the President of Nigeria. What data, what insights can you generate that can solve some of our problems? For example, power, insecurity. Those are two critical problems. What data can you use? How would you mine that data? And what insights can it generate that can solve our problems sustainably? We have two major problems we can look at for this conversation. We can look at power, epileptic power, and then we can look at insecurity. So over to you.
All right, so if I will touch on the problem of power, I can generate an insight into the adoption of the use of other source of power, making it readily available for the citizens to obtain. And these sources can be likened to the renewable source of energy, which is the solar. So with this insight, we can generate amounts of data based on the number of people making use of this source of energy at the moment, and compare it how it best solves the common problem of the masses.
Okay. Since we are doing a practical session, so what I will share, some things that can help in an interview. One, you must be convincing. You must be able to communicate in a way that is convincing, not based on just emotions, but convincing to the extent that it's competitive, and then you have convinced me that you know what you are talking about, and then I can commit resources into your care, or I can even give you the opportunity. Secondly, you must be persuasive. You must be able to use data, insights, experience, evidence to persuade me to move in your direction. Then you must be competitive because you are not the only person. Now, if I were to answer your question, the question about Nigeria using the issue of power, this is how I will go about it. Nigeria has a population of, you must be able to speak about two things when you're having an interview or you're talking about data. Quantitative data tells me how much. Qualitative data tells me how well. Nigeria has a population of 220 million people and above, based on census data, blah, 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 extrapolation from blah, blah, blah. You have that. Now, Nigeria is categorized into 6 geopolitical zones with different weather and climate patterns. The south has access to water, which can generate hydro. The north has access to wind and sunlight, which can be useful for solar. You are speaking very specifically. Now, the consumption of power within Southwest is considered 40% of the national demand. Therefore, in my solving the problem of power, I would focus primarily on the major areas where there is higher demand. Secondly, in Lagos State, for example, we have over 55% of households and offices running on a generator. That shows me, therefore, that there is a willingness to pay for power. Therefore, I will commission band A electricity that people can pay for and let generators be obsolete. People will not use them and run them into extinction because people are willing to pay for band A power rather than running a generator. Now, other areas that have lower income, like other parts of the Southwest, Ibadan, thereabouts, I will commission solar, which can be paid for in phases, instrumentals, just like we have telco solutions like MTN having solar connectivity. We have Sun King, we have different fabricators of solar panels, and they can run on solar. You begin to speak from, then you look at the Southeast. We have coal deposits in the Southeast, which can form the basis. Also, from the regulatory framework, I will create a law that will enable and empower every state or every individual entity, private, to generate their own power. Everybody can generate their own power so that, when you speak with insights, because you may not have work experience, but these are practical issues. If you talk about security, you can begin to analyze. The first thing is that we need to have a central database of every Nigerian that is a cooperative database, your national ID, your voter's card, your BVN, your passport ID, everything is integrated. So when we want to take a decision about you, if you go abroad in Europe and America, if you commit a crime, within hours, all your data is out. The school you went to, your neighborhood, your friends. So we have a central database. Secondly, we leverage on technology. We don't need to be chasing cars like LASMA is chasing cars. You should have cameras everywhere that can take a snap. Then we do surveillance. All our borders, we know the entry and the exit. We know how many people are inside Nigeria. Then there is what do you call it? Intelligence. We run as spies. When you sit down, you think about it, it gives you a more comprehensive answer to the extent that you are able to contribute actively. I don't know if this is helpful so far.
Yes, it is. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So it is when, when you have convinced yourself, it's easier to convince other people. So when you are speaking, when you are answering a question, speak in bullet points. Rehearse before the mirror. Let me turn the microphone. Let me give you the microphone. You ask me 1 or 2 questions so that I can respond as an example. And then just choose the role. Choose the role. And then you want us to talk about data or you want us to talk about another role. And then we can use an example,
Mr. Kennedy, I think I'll just come in there just to also round up just this part of the interview. I already had a few questions that I was going to ask, so we might use this opportunity to ask those questions.
Okay.
Right. So going through your biography, it says you manage talent across 42 countries. That is a complex thing to do. So how do you manage navigating these differences within you work currently across continents as well? How do you manage navigating these differences in culture and things like that?
Okay, so where we are, Sarah, Lagos is our head office, but we have interactions with other operations across board. First thing in managing people from diverse backgrounds is first identify the areas of similarity. Identify the areas of alignment. So you have something that you are working on that can easily work. Then secondly, understand everybody's peculiarity, because how it works in Ghana is different from how it works in Sierra Leone, how it works in French-speaking West Africa is different from English. Understand and appreciate. Understand the difference, understand the divergence, and appreciate it, because it's one thing for you to understand it, it's another thing for you to appreciate it. Understand that not every one of the causes of conflict is that people are insisting that people are alike. Understand that this person is different. Understand that if you ask a Christian to come to work on Sunday between 9 to 12, you are looking for trouble. The same way if you ask a Muslim between 1 and 3 p.m. on Friday. So understand and appreciate everybody's difference, you know. So that's one of the ways that you can seek to know people first before expecting them to understand you. So when you know them, it gives a foundation to engage them better.
Very well spoken. Very well spoken. I couldn't have answered that any perfectly than you just did, Mr. Kennedy. Thank you very much for that response. And just to add to what you said, it's all about confidence, and um, it's okay if you don't know what to say immediately. Always take your time, pause, think about what you want to say, and say it. Thank you very much, Mr. Kennedy. And in that light, I think just so we are cautious of time, I think Modupe, if you're available, I'll be putting your CV up now, so you can also have a go. I hope while Justice was there, you had a bit of time to also rehearse some of your answers and put yourself together. So Modupe, are you there? Hello, Modupe.
Yes, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
So I'm going to, in the light of who wants to be a millionaire, I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Kende and put you on the hot seat.
The seat is not hot. If you sit on the seat for a long time, that's going to be hot. You want to share her resume?
Yes, I'm doing that now. Oh, okay, that's a bit. So
Okay,
yeah,
so okay, also in data, static sense, data analyst, looks interesting. Um, can you flip on to the second page? Okay, junior data. So she's done a lot of stuff in data, junior data coordinator, Eco Energy integrated, and then the next role after that. Can you just go to the upper page? Let me just see the role before static sense. So she has done marketing analyst, Talos Global Limited, and then she also went to static sense. So Modupe, what role are you interviewing for at what company?
Okay, good evening, sir. My name is Mojikolo Alu. And okay, so actually I think I sent the wrong resume. Okay, so for now, I think I'm looking at work in a fintech in Nigeria, or okay, probably Blackstone. They're into is a PE firm. I'm looking to work into that. I'm trying to aim high,
Okay, so what do you want to do
data
there?
analyst.
What your role? Data
Yes, I
analyst.
want
So
to as a data
how does data
analyst.
analyst fit into their work?
Okay, so as a data analyst in in maybe Blackstone or any fintech in Nigeria, what we do is okay, apart from getting the data, modeling it, and then we insights. We look for insights. We'll go through their portfolio. Like, okay, where I'm working presently is Steers, and so we do a lot of data reporting, you know, getting insights out there. So isn't or fintech firm where I can analyze data, get insight in a way to like improve their KPI generally.
Okay, so general, you know, the more you prepare, the more you have insight. So typically, what language you should be using for a private equity company is research. That's what they typically do. So anything data will be submitted in that role. So they typically look at it like research. So they do company research, they do industry research, they do macroeconomic research. So when you say private equity, usually you're going to be doing mergers and acquisitions, takeovers, different collaborations, joint venture, So you are going to be researching industries. You are going to be researching companies. You are going to be researching management staff. Those things will guide. So maybe a data and research analyst kind of role. So are you good to go so that we can start our interview?
Yeah, sure. I'm good to go.
Okay. So what do you know about us and why do you want to join us?
So I know you are one of the top PE firm in the world, and I've been, since I started working in Steers, I've looked forward to work with you because of the basic knowledge. I don't really have so much knowledge about the basic knowledge about the company, and the investment, the reports that you give out, they are solid. And it amazes me how you get those information. And I think that's one of the things that threw me that, okay, I would like to work in this company. And sorry, what was the second question?
So I was asking, why us? What do you know about us? Then why do you want to work with us?
Okay. So I've already mentioned why the company, but why I want to work with you. Okay, so it's not as if I have so much knowledge in the private equity for now, but at least I have some knowledge about private equity, about transactions to be particular. So I actually want to a bigger organization where I can apply the knowledge that I have for now into the organization and to learn more, to improve and build on myself. Thank you.
Okay, so for entry level, we must know two things. One, there's something called opportunity. Then secondly, there's something called value. When opportunity and value come together, you get what they call reward. Now, when you are coming for an interview, the evidence of interest is pursuit. So if you're interested in something, you pursue it. And one of the evidences of interest is also gathering information. So they can ask you, what are the top, if you say, mention 3 multinational banks, someone can say, Stanbic, Standard Chartered Bank, Citibank. You understand the industry. So you must speak very specifically. Because when you speak very specifically, you speak very convincingly. That's number one. Secondly, don't look for a company that will help you to grow. Look for a company that you will add value. So as you're adding value, we're also helping you to grow. So it's mutually beneficial. So what I expect is that with your years of experience in data, you communicate how you use it to add value to this company, that you can expand the basis of their research landscape by introducing data from consumer markets, data from consumer touch points, from a more analytical framework, leveraging AI, leveraging Power BI. You speak from that perspective. Okay, so that was just to chip it in. Now, if you join our company, what will be your 6 months plan?
Didn't get that properly.
If you join us, what will be your 6 months plan?
Okay, so my 6 months plan is going to firstly to understand how the process work and to automate the process, because in this era I know that automation makes work to go faster and more efficient. So I think that's what I want to achieve in the first 6 months.
You have to run out your plan. Now, what is your 6 months plan? Stage by stage. Break it down for us.
Okay, so like I said, I was the first thing is to get myself familiarized with the workflow and the process. An analyst that will be doing a lot of research. I would look out how to automate the process, probably using, I don't know, for now, I don't know the software that the company is using for their automation, but currently I'm using N8N work pipe flow to automate my processes. So I will see how I can incorporate that into, or to learn the software they are using to automate the processes. That is the only thing in my head right now.
Okay, because when you're analyzing some of these things, you must come to the table and then see, don't let fear. Just listen to the question that they asked you and just provide a reasonable response. For example, when you say 6 months plan, I will first use the first month to understand the client's list, the specific preferences of each client, understand the industry focus, and also understand the stakeholders. Then the second month, I'll use it to understand our processes. What's the particular way our company does things differently? What's the approach? Are there any specific trainings that I need to match up? And then by 3, you have started adding value. By month 3, so that's a structured approach that shows a specific process. Okay, so mention 5 critical requirements that are needed for success in this role.
Okay, so going by my experience so far, the first thing is I think the most important thing the most important requirements basically are soft skill, because I know the hard skill is what can learn on the job most time. Because in private equity or anything that has to do with research, you have to pay attention to the littlest detail. So I would say attention to detail. And another thing is going to be, because I'm going to be working with a lot of I'm going to collaborate with a lot of people from different teams and different departments. So another requirement is to have a collaborative skill. And I think that's another requirement. And another one is the communication skill, because at every point in time, if there is an information that needs to be passed across, it needs to pass across data. So the communication skill has to be sound. Then aside those ones, I would say ability to learn fast on the job, because it's not as if coming from, there are new things that will be needing to know more about in this company. So that is another skill. Another requirement for the job. Thank you.
Okay, so the functional and technical skills, they are the most important. So they should be your first order. So you have your functional and technical skills. You have things like leadership and teamwork. Then you have other soft skills. Okay. Fair enough. One landmark corporate finance transaction can you reference that happened this year? It could be acquisition, it could be merger, it could be private equity. Do you have any landmark transaction, any landmark or milestone transaction that you want to reference
Okay,
in
I think I can
2025?
remember. So I can remember one that is when UAC acquired Chip. And I think that's their first acquisition in about 45 years or so.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, what questions do you have for us?
Okay, so my question is for somebody that is coming in, is there any like training? I mean, is there any training that are available for me? And over the period of years, is there like I'm going to put it on that like let me say it's still about training, like to progress in my career that the company offers. That's my question.
Okay, what do you think the answer to that would be?
That should be
From your
yes,
knowledge,
maybe
from your
something like
knowledge of
this.
this wonderful company.
They should be yes. That should be yes.
That one shows that you have not finished your research. So there will typically be. That's standard, because some people come to call and say, will there be room for growth? Yes, now that's why there's even room for the recruitment itself. So yes, standard, but let me act the part of a generous chairman. We have multiple programs, mentorship and coaching. We have learning on the job. We have online and on-site learning opportunities. And we have a leadership development program. So those are the things that we have that help us manage capital in terms of talent here.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, sir.
Any other question from you? Okay, if you don't have a question, may I have a question? So, what do people complain about you? What do people complain that they don't like about you?
Okay. Okay, I think that the major one is when I have a roadblock, for example, I try to like get the solution, like I find a way of it, and which at times could be disrupting other things. Though I am working on that to know when to like give a pause or stop on something like is not working out. I think that is the major complaint I've had about it. I've heard from people.
Okay, good to go. Let me hand over to the coordinator.
Thank you so much for the insight so far, Mr. Kende. And I believe a lot of us, even some of us that might think we would do better, have learned a thing or two from this, especially the two people that we've put on the hot seats. And not to be shady, but if I were to be in the interview and I meet Mr. Kende, I might be running this time. But those were very insightful. And thank you so much for doing this for us. So in that light, I would open the floor for questions from the people who have been paying attention so far, just to take those questions before I maybe ask a couple of questions and then we start to round up. So please, if you have any questions, please just use the hand feature and then we can start to ask these questions while our guest is still here. Okay, so we have a first person. Modupe, please, the floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, so my question to Mr. Kende is, okay, like today actually I was, and it was when you asked the first person where they want to work in, that's why I just quickly think about my own. So for instance, in the real life, I want to work in a company. I mean, I saw an advert, I want to work in that company. What are the important things that you think I should know, apart from technical question? What are the most important things you think I should know about that company before going for their interview? Thank you.
You should study the company when you did start. Yeah, mode of operations, their culture, their people, their leadership team. Who are they competing with? So let's do random questions. Okay, let's do it like a quiz. So let us look at in insurance company, Leadway Assurance. Who are they competing with?
Sigma.
Look at their profile, Leadway, and look at the industry. So Leadway, who are they competing with? Nobody has an answer. There's AXA Master, there's custodian. So that shows you have researched. You need, the more you research, you cannot over research. The more you research about the company, you understand your role that you are going to play. Now, your company that of interest, they are scattered across different sizes. So Sterling Bank is not the same as First Bank. So if you are going for an interview at Sterling Bank, you must understand that Sterling Bank is a tier 2 bank. Sterling Bank is a bank that came out from amalgamation and merger and acquisition. So you understand their peculiarities. The more you know, it's like you're gathering data, the more insights you can draw. So if I'm going for a human resources role in Sterling Bank, I will know I need to talk about culture, because culture is there because they came from multiple banks that came together. So they have to have uniform culture. Secondly, because I know that they're a tier 2 bank in terms of capital, and assets under management, thereabout, banking jargons, I need to focus on performance, because it's performance that will drive them up to the level of being like an access bank. Then I need to talk about a consolidated view, because I know that they are in the midst of so many other businesses. They have Islamic finance, they have multiple investments across board, So when you understand, like a doctor, understand all the data points of your patient, it gives you insights. When you look at the blood pressure, look at the heartbeat, you look at the height, you look at the body mass index, you look at the weight. So you analyze leadership, people, what do people say about them, talents, you break it down. So who is when you check, their MD, he went to Harvard, their CFO, he went to Oxford, you say, maybe this company prioritizes a foreign degree. You gives you insights. I don't know if I'm communicating. So those are things that help you, so that you are not speaking to a stranger when you're having the interview. You've known a lot about the company and you're able to draw insights. I don't know if I've answered your question. That's what Mojikwe. And a lot of all these materials are online. You can check YouTube, you can check LinkedIn, you can check Google, you check how to prepare for an interview, what questions. There are so many. We need to consume the right things, because some of us, what you just spend time on is to be watching skits and watching football or watching a soap opera. But if you sit down, getting a job is a job. You need to analyze, understand, research, and then when you prior preparation prevents poor performance. When you gather info, or we just laugh, we just watch kids, we laugh, dance, and forget your sorrow. Meanwhile, the sorrow is still waiting for you. So I see that Justice has his hand up.
Just before we move on to those people, so there was a question in the chat. It says, I would like to know what value exactly a data analyst would bring besides analyzing data and drawing business insights. If you are asked what value do you bring, wouldn't it be technical skills? How exactly would I answer this question?
Okay, so value can be from different. When you look at the value chain of a business, one of the things that helps you in life is to have an analytical mind. Value at different points. When you look at the business framework, you have operations, you have sales, you have profit, you have journalism, you have all those elements. If you look at all those elements, you begin to see opportunity areas or impact areas. For example, I help to drive operational efficiency because data analysis gives us a basis to understand improvement areas. If data analysis tells us that, for example, 50% of people are taking paracetamol at work, that means there's a problem. Maybe the stress level is high. 20% are taking tetracycline, maybe the food from the canteen. So that is driving operational efficiency. Secondly, it helps us to drive sales. So if 80% of our customers like morning tea, that means we should increase our stock of morning tea. It helps us to drive sales. Then it helps us to make profit. Analysis helps us to make profit. When we look at the areas where we are making like a Pareto rule, we know where to focus our attention on and generate the best return for our investment. So you can speak from operational efficiency, you can speak from sales, you can speak from profit, and those are just some of the areas. So when you say value is not just your contribution, it's what it translates to. So when you are looking at the game of football, the value of a player is not that he can dribble, is the outcome. He can score, and that scoring can help us move up the table. So is the value you bring is the end result, not the initial contribution, is the end result. So all this, your talent, what you are doing, Jonathan, what does it generate? So that's where we talk about value. I don't know if that has answered your question.
Thank you for that. We have Isitor. Isitor, please.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I entered the meeting late. Our interview, I noticed something while you were interviewing the last lady. Most times she barely answered the question, and there was a lot of pauses in her speech. I don't know, does that really count in a general interview? Because most times I could see a lot of and then she barely answered the question. So please, can you throw light on that, please?
And so persuasive communication is part of the way to have convincing communication. So if you know it, you can flow easily. So what causes is maybe you have not thought about it deeply. You rush to answer rather than thinking to speak, or you are not well prepared. If you are well prepared, there are some interviews you go for when you are well prepared. It's not an interview, it's a conversation because you are not flowing. If you go for an interview that is 1 hour and you finish in 15 minutes, it's likely you did not do well, or you did so well that you didn't need to ask other questions. But there are some interviews that you go, is 40 minutes, you end up spending 1 hour, 25 minutes because it's a conversation, you are flowing. You have any question, because you can't give what you don't have. If you have read about it, you flow easily. But when you are you know what is the scientific explanation for you are pausing to think after you have started speaking. You are pausing to think. That's why we have what they call fillers. That's why some people say, yeah, right, yeah, you understand. They are pausing to think. But when you are flowing, you can speak uninterrupted for 10 minutes because you are flowing. So it's something that you can pay attention to. But you can prepare on your own. You can write. Google is your friend. We are in the world of knowledge. There's internet everywhere. What are the roles you're interested in? What are the questions? What are the guidelines for an interview? You read those things, you prepare with your friends, you prepare with your counselor, you prepare with your mentor, you prepare in front of your mirror. Then you now go ahead. And then it's not the same preparation for company A you use for company B. Understand your targets, and then it's not the same strategy you used to play Barcelona that you used to play Real Madrid. You understand the peculiarities of each company, and then you put your best foot forward based on the specific insights that are relatable to the company. I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh yes, I think that answers it. So thank you so much for the.
Yes, we have Justice. Justice.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kehinde, and also to the organizers. I think tonight I've identified a big void I need to close up on, because this is actually my first ever interview session in life. Like, all other things I've done is just to walk through straight to the job. So, Mr. Kehinde, my question on this note, if you were in my position, what would you focus on the most before an interview? And what would you suggest to make a strong impression?
Okay, so the first thing you should focus on is yourself, because you're a product that you need to market. So understand, because if you don't profile yourself properly, you will not do well at an interview. Because if you are, it's like going for an interview for a librarian job when you know you are an extrovert, or you are typically more talkative. You are just going to cause a disaster. So the first thing is to profile yourself well. Profiling yourself shows you what job you should apply for, what company you should go to. You know, when you profile yourself well, it's by looking at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. By doing like a psychometric test or a personality assessment test that recommends potential. You know, people, the problem that people have, you just apply for any job because we don't like thinking, we don't like pausing, we don't like researching. When you understand the job that is ideal for you, you are coming from a place of strength and you are coming from a place of natural supply. So you are flowing. So the first thing before we even get to interview is profiling yourself. Profiling yourself. Then you now know the product. You now know what you are good at. Then you can therefore now know what foot you are putting forward. You know, then you can now know what company you're interviewing with, what role you're interviewing for, what industry. You know, I don't know if that provides some context.
Yes, it does. But in the scenario where you said profiling yourself, I'll ask again, what's if after my profile assessment and I'm just the person that doesn't talk much, like an introvert type? Does it mean that it's not the job for me as a data person?
Okay. So we say strength, weaknesses. Strengths is something that you can easily do, and you have natural endowments too. Introverts talk, but they don't talk as much as other people. So, for example, if you say an introvert is going to go into sales, it may be a tough call unless you are looking at sales from a data analyst point or a working customer point. But when somebody likes, you say an introvert should go and take a role as a motivational speaker, the person doesn't like talking. The person talks when he or she needs to talk. You know, if you check most of the motivational speakers, there are people that are given to talking, most of them predominantly. So if you are applying for a position where your strength is misdirected, there's already a potential problem because you're going to compete. You're going to compete with other people. So you need to put your best foot forward so that you can get the best results, you know.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. So we have John C. Amma. John C., we can't hear you. And I know you're muted, but we can't hear you in case you're having technical issues. Conscious of time, Johnson, if you're able to leave your question in the chat, while we move on to Bukumi Israel, please.
Good evening, sir. And thank you so much for the interview. But I have some questions. When you were having the interview with both of them, much questions weren't really asked about their technical skills. It's mostly about their business mindset and how they approach things in the business way. Now, my question is this: is this how we should expect the questions in a real interview? So, and if it's so, then what gives them the assurance of our technical skills? What gives them the assurance that we can actually do the work that they want to give to us? Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so you know that if during the session I mentioned that okay, we are learning, we are having a conversation. That's why we did some things. Just to at least, even Bible says, he that is faithful in this is faithful in much. If we have not solved some basic elements, there's no need to be diving deep. Now, we have also had to manage time because maybe we just have about a 1 hour slot to work with, and we had 2 people, so a typical interview may be within 30 minutes to 1 hour, 30 minutes. It depends. It may be 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 1 hour. There you typically have significant time. And it may depend on a number of things, availability of the interviewers, how many people they are interviewing, but typically 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45, 50 minutes, 1 hour, thereabout, can be sufficient time within an interview. So this is just a mock. It's not the full reality of what you should expect. There are 3 categories of questions that typically should be asked in an interview. Technical questions that talks about the function, an accountant, that's bookkeeping, that's treasury, that's credit recovery. An engineer, there are specific things, about engine overhaul. There are specific things that talk about the function. Secondly, there are behavioral, that talks about how will you manage the situation, how will you cope, how you relate with people. And then the third is ability. So what have you done? What capacity do you demonstrate? What skills do you possess? So those are 3 things that you should watch out for in an interview. 1, functional. What are the things you need to do to perform this job? Secondly, behavioral. Then thirdly, you look at ability. What skills? So for example, when we're talking about data, Power BI is there. There are other applications that we use. We're talking about accounting. Is it QuickBooks? Is it Peachtree? Is it Sage? There are different packages. So those 3 things, and some people call it knowledge, skills, and ability. Functional knowledge, then you have skills, you have ability. Some people say attitude. So you may need to do some research about interviewing, a lot of data. If you are job hunting, spend 1 hour a day. If you have a full-time job that you are doing, to be researching about your new job, how you get a job. If you don't have a job, spend 4 hours every day and do it for 1 week. You will see that you'll be typically a better candidate when you come for interviews. I don't know. Yes, now you want job. You want a job. You don't want to spend time. What are you using your time to do? You want to sleep? You want to be sleeping, or you want to watch? You have 24 hours a day. Then we say you should spend 4 hours to prepare. You want to be watching a series.
We have a new question in the chats. Johnson says, how do you effectively negotiate payment expectations without underpricing or overpricing yourself, especially when you have an idea?
Never even pass interview. And they have to pay. You know that when you demonstrate value, to attract value is not hard. The problem we typically have is that we have not demonstrated the value, and we are asking for increment when we have not demonstrated our influence. You are asking for increment. So good talent, a golden fish does not have a hiding place. So focus on being golden. Now, just per se, you have gotten all those things, and then that's a challenge. Come to the interview or the negotiation table with information. Glassdoor is there. People that work in that company are there. The expectation, okay, do you think that a banker will earn 50,000 naira a month in Nigeria? The typical answer will be no. Because you need to understand what you must know about the industry. Do you think that you can be working in a microfinance bank and earning 7 million per month? Very unlikely. So you must come, is information that drives decision making. And decision making is also in the place of negotiation. So negotiation first comes from the place of value. I cannot buy a bottle of granite for 20,000 naira because the value is not commensurate with what I'm getting. So you must first come from the place of value. But it is possible that there may be some special granules that maybe have honey, you take this granules, it will cure diabetes. There are some other things they've added that will communicate that value. A bottle of Fanta at Mama Put is different from a bottle of Fanta at Radisson Blu. Why am I paying more in Radisson Blu? Because of the environment, because of the people I may get to meet. So it's value. people don't have, nothing is expensive. It depends on the value you are getting from it. The problem why people have is that you are pricing a product that is not going to give you value, and you are complaining. So you have not even gone for NYC and you want to be entering business class. What value does business class do to you? Because when you meet Aliko Dangote or any big person in the business class, what can you do with it? But there are some people that have value to contribute. So if they go there, they meet the opportunity, they can mine it. I don't know if I'm communicating. So communicate from the place of value. When you are able to add value, it's easier to find people that appreciate you. If you can score like Messi and Ronaldo, then you'll find a club that can. Is it coincidental that those people are earning significantly higher than other people? But when you are a striker that does not score goal, you cannot be the one that is agitating for increased pay now.
Very true, very true. And speaking on that value, I'm going to use my power as a host to take over here. While the conversation was going on, because I'm currently based in the UK, and I'm planning to make a trip to Nigeria. And Mr. Kende, I was thinking of having a tour, sort of. I don't know which office you are based in, so I don't also know if there is a data science function within your office. But if there is one, I would love to explore. Or maybe have a data or something. I don't know how possible that is, just to kind of see how data science is being done within the within Sahara. And speaking of value, I assure you I do bring value, because I'm currently using data science in work for Transport for London, which is the transport organization for the entirety of London. And yes, I just thought I'd bring that up because I was hoping to have that conversation later, but now that the conversation of value has come up, I was hoping to press your neck on that.
Not a problem. Well, you typically can share everybody's CV. Then we can look at it. If we see some opportunities, we can either broadcast or we can explore. So it may take time. You don't need to rush. You can use 3 days, prepare your CV. Then you can send. If you see anything, we can share. So be open-minded. You can knock several doors. Once you are focused on the key to your success is within, not without. If you can position yourself as a good product, Toyota may not sell as limousine, or Lamborghini may not sell as fast as Toyota, but everything has its value. So you are a salesman for Toyota. It seems you are making a lot of progress, but you are not making so much money. So there are 20 customers coming in, buying every month, but 3 sales of Lamborghini can meet your sales target for 1 year. So when you understand your product, it will determine the approach you use to sell it. So focus on adding value. Focus on being a person of value. Then salary will not be a problem. Finding job will not be. So contribute to making value. And then that why in a team people earn different salaries. So it depends on the value that you are contributing. There's a difference between popcorn and guguru. Popcorn is properly processed and then a well-branded. Guguru is just on the road side, and even the person selling the guguru is not so. But there is additional value added. That's why popcorn is demanding and is put in a transparent glass.
Very true words. We might be limiting some of the questions we take, but Olusegun, your hand is up. You have the floor.
Okay, so good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask the question. Thank you very much, Mr. Kende, for the very insightful session. Okay, so my question is still on salary negotiation. So there are some roles that you apply for, and the company or the interviewers are curious about how much you want to earn, even before you demonstrate any value. There's some form to fill online that there will be some fields. They put how much salary do you want to earn, or there are some interviews. I know probably oral interviews, I've not been oral interview that they ask for salary, but I know that there might be few that they put for the that question to you, just because they are probably conscious of their budget. So how do I approach such when interviewers or company ask you about salary you want to earn before they even ask you question to demonstrate your value? Thank you very much.
Okay, so information drives perspective. So one of the things you can do is to understand what their pay band is beforehand. You can gather information from the industry. You can gather information from other colleagues that work there to have a sense. You can also know what exactly you earn. Just do a calculation, yeah, and then check how much does it take you to live a functional life in this Lagos or whatever state of Nigeria you are in. How much is your internet subscription? How much is your data? How much is your DSTV subscription? How much is your GoTV? How much is your NEPA bill? Have a sense of what typically takes you, how much is rent, so you have the minimum that you not go below. So when somebody asks you, I'm okay, at least 1.5 million, bam. Then look at, they are different, it's not hard or fast, there are different ways, it's not cast in stone. Also, let's assume you are earning 1.5 million and then you are going for an interview. You can look at 30 to 50% increase on the 1.5 million. At least that's a safe benchmark to work with. If you don't have information, you don't have data, you say, I'm open to negotiation, it's something we can discuss, unless they insist. But if they insist, you have all those other sources you can leverage on. There are people that are working there, unless it's a new company. If it's a new company, you already know what the industry demands, what the industry stipulates, so you have an idea of, and such information is everywhere. You can see it online to make an informed communication when you are asked.
Thank you so much to everyone that's asked that question, and for Mr. Kende for answering all of those questions. So if you have any questions, please just leave them in the chat, and one of our Chatty Fridays would probably speak about them. Ones that we can forward to Mr. Kende, and in his free time, if he can respond to them, he would. And ones that we can reach out to our mentors on the program, would also reach out to them to give us insights. And I hope everyone on the call has been able to take a thing or two from the call so far. In that light, I would like to say, I think this particular session is a success, because some of the questions that some people have asked, it shows that there's a lot of learning to still be done, and at least we now know the direction that we can go to get to where we need to get to. So once again, very big thank you to Mr. Kende for taking the time out to join us on this call. And if there's anyone that just wants to say a brief thank you, I'll leave the opportunity for you to say anything you want to say before we round up. Seems like none. So thank you everyone for joining this call. We round up this session today, and we hope to continue. Hopefully, we would probably get one of our community managers to reach out to Mr. Kende for mentorship opportunities, or any of his available time that he can also be giving to us, as Data Living is looking to improve the quality of our members and even our own selves. And it's a continuous journey that we hope to get to one of these days, and to be as big as Mr. Kende that we have on the call as well. And thank you everyone. And with that, I would say you have a good night, and speak to you soon.
And you too, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye bye. Night.